the importance of user interfaces and as well as user experiences designing and all everything in today's world. As you all well aware, performing an application for any of the enterprise level transformations and all everything is essentially important for any of the enterprises. At the same time, especially in reference to the business and as well as commercial applications, it is always important for us to know about what exactly the user interface designs and user experiences are in order to attract the customers, at the same time in order to make our application more effective and elaborative. It's not only that user interfaces and experiences and all everything is being used to visualize the process for any team so that they could understand what exactly the thing to be developed and in what way this is to be developed and all that. So nowadays, most of the organizations, most of the enterprises, most of the companies, especially in reference to the software organizations and all that, so they require a lot of people who are especially having a clear understanding as well as the knowledge on user interfaces and user experience designing and all using different tools. So this is the kind of profile which anyone can look for, because there is no specific qualification criteria as what we see here, because this is all something how you are going to visualize the requirement and how you see the application as well as the grandeur, simplicity, all that stuff. So that visualization or visualized approach is something essentially needed for anyone who wants to learn user interfaces or user experience designing. So to do that, there are a lot of tools are available nowadays, a lot of tools we have. So of course, I'm going to explain you what are the tools required and all everything in coming time. Normally, there is a difference that most of the people have a confusion over, like how different user experience and user interface designs are, because most of the people have some confusion over what exactly user interface is and what exactly user experiences are, right? So how different all that. Let me explain you about the difference between these two things now. Where user experiences and all everything involves majorly to manage the user journey, whoever is using the application or the site designing or whatever they are doing and all user journeys. At the same time, this is being used majorly to interact with the kind of service or a product what is that we are using on the exact of the project, what is that we are going to develop. This is all something relating to user experience, means how you are showing experience and how visualizing experience to the end user when they are start using it. That is what generally the perception user experience will be. But when it comes to user interfaces and all, it is majorly focusing about the kind of interfaces what is that we are developing. So whatever the interfaces do we have and all, in reference to the design part of the process, what is that we are following for user experience, what kind of user interfaces you are preparing, either user interfaces, either right from screen presence or it may be a login page, whatever it is, whatever all these things, this is all comes under the user interfaces part. Of course, we use a lot of tools and all, everything will be used. This is what it is. But when it comes to the responsibility as well as the roles of an designing people, whoever is into UI and UX, majorly they need to focus on creating user interfaces and all everything for any of the websites or for commercial applications or for apps as well. At the same time, this is widely used, especially across interactive medias and all everything nowadays. At the same time, the work collaboration and all everything for the project managers as well as for engineering people who used to gather the requirements, especially for the role of business analyst from the user perspective. So before they are going to get an idea or whatever the idea they have got at this point in time, how we have to present it, we have to present this to the people who wants to create and all everything through using some storyboards and all everything, followed by this some sort of process flows or something like sitemaps and all everything is being used using this user interface designing all that. So majorly as a role of user interface designer or a user experience designer, one should understand the requirements of the user perspective So you need to understand, and you need to, so based on that, you need to create some storyboards, all that stuff. This is what generally the experience being a designer you need to have. There are a lot of tools are available nowadays. Of course, we use different tools like Balsamiq. Balsamiq is one kind of tool which is widely used across industries for wireframes, mockups, all that stuff. At the same time, Adobe XD is also there, which will be used for prototyping and designing. There is another tool called Sketch, which is being used for prototyping, designing, all that stuff. At the same time, we have another tool called Craft and all everything, which is being used for UI designing, all that stuff. As an example, today I'm going to show you how generally and what exactly it looks like in reference to the tool called Balsamiq. Because as I stated earlier, Balsamiq is a kind of tool which is widely used for creating wireframes and mockups, all that stuff. So today I'm just going to show you how in Balsamiq and how it is looking for like that, all that stuff. So this is what generally Balsamiq tool is. This is for the training purpose, and all trial versions are available outside, wherein we can take down the trial versions and all, we can use it, this Balsamiq tool and all that. So in this Balsamiq tool and all, whatever the project you are going to create, that project can be created. Either if you want to create, for example, if you want to create a website sample, right? Whatever the website sampling do you want to create? For example, a website which we are creating depends on the kind of grandeur we are giving, the kind of applications we are using. For example, we are using some business and commercial applications which is used for internal related purposes and all, the grandeur will be different. At the same time, commercial applications or e-commerce applications or travel domain related applications where they want to attract more customers and all. So how you are going to present your page and how attractive the page should be. So it's not only an attraction, apart from the attraction and all that, so there must be a clear understanding about how this can be used, because this must be simple for any user to use it, right? So they should not have any kind of difficulty in using it. So wherein here, not only for website designing and all, even for example, if you want to create any kind of mobile apps or desktop apps and all everything, that also can be created here, where this is all something like drag and drop kind of stuff, wherein we can, whatever, for example, here you need to select a brand where I'm just mentioning it as Raj, right? Let's say that, for example, right? So brand called Raj is what I'm using here. Razilman is what generally I'm using here. So it is something similar like the kind of designs and as well as the changes what you are making in this existing one. So you don't see much difficulty in using it, but all these things what is required is that first of all you need to have a clarity that what kind of application or what kind of design are we making and who are the users. That is what the perception you need to have, right? You need, if you don't have and all everything, then it would be difficult, all that stuff. So you can write on the name here itself, as I mentioned you, Raj is the name, wherein here I'm writing the name on Illinois, right? So Raj Illinois is what I am writing. So there is a new policy, for example, a mobile application wherein we are developing. Either this may be a policy or whatever the mobile app and all everything, so that how the page looks like on the mobile app and all everything can be seen here. So either it may be a basic one, regular, premium one and all everything will be selected accordingly. So this is how generally the mobile apps and all everything we prepare. Followed by this, even if you are creating some desktop apps, right? Color combinations can be, or else if you want to put any kind of buttons and all, where you want to put, right? Do you want to put it on the left hand side? For example, XYZ is what I'm giving, home. For example, I'm just giving it as home. Right, home is the button I am giving, right? Where are we giving this, right? Is it we are giving on the top right or top left? So when we are creating user interface designs, when you are creating the websites or when you are creating mobile apps and all that, so where are we presenting this and how do you present this and how attractive the application must be? All these things and all everything can be used using this Balsamiq tool. Of course, there's an example of Balsamiq I'm using, which I'm showing you, which is easy for you guys to understand. So not only Balsamiq, there are other tools even nowadays. Some trial versions we are getting, even some open source tools are also available nowadays. So as far as the learners itself is concerned, they can choose whichever the tool they require as far as the market needs and demands and all, what kind of tools will be used and all, everything can also be used. The reason why I'm using Balsamiq is a kind of tool which is widely used across industries for wireframes and mockups for a very long time, and it is even popular as well across application development. Because whenever people who are working on the application development, when we want to explain the requirements to the team, for example, especially the role of a business analyst, guys will prepare this uh, mockups and wireframes and all. For example, when we are creating a login page, right? So how the page should looks like, what should be the color combination, what must be the clarity, grandeur, everything we have to explain. How do we explain that? This is all we explain. So based upon the visualization using this Balsamiq and all, everything, people will use it. So that once it is being given, it will be given to the user interface designers and all. Based on that, they can create user interface designs and all, everything into the next level. So this is how generally the business analyst people will also use. So in each and every stage of the application development or for a product, whatever it is, because as most of the services, whatever are we using across industries nowadays, everything got digitalized. And whatever the services we see, whatever the services are we using nowadays, everything has become visualized format. So when we are working on visualized format, that attractiveness is required. People should attract to the website, or people should attract to the page what we have created. At the same time, they should be in a position wants to use this application again and again. At the same time, a normal layman should also understand how and what this application looks like and how to prepare. So these sort of understandings are something essentially required when we are preparing user interfaces and user experiences. This is what generally, being a person who wants to make their career into user interface designing and user experience designing, is what generally they need to learn. So this is how generally the kind of Balsamiq tool will be used here. At the same time, for example, if you want to create any kind of layouts, something like, for example, if you want to create a sitemap, right? For example, if you want to create a sitemap and all that, so this sitemaps and all, everything can also be created here, where you can create the sitemaps, whatever is required here, wherein we can give, excuse me, we can give the buttons and all, everything, right? So we can change according to the, for example, XYZ is what I have changed. As an example, I'm just showing you. You can see there is a change. So what you have to do is that just simply drag and drop and clicking on this, double click on this, wherein you will be getting it, and whatever the changes to be made into the existing ones, here we can do it. For example, product name. Right, product name. Next, product classification. I'm just giving you a sample so that you could understand this better. Next, product category. Right, product category. Next, about the product. Next, services. Next, contact. For example, if you have taken this, just simply click on it so that you can see whatever the sitemap we have created and all. In this sitemap, whatever the changes required, right? The sitemap creation and all, everything we have prepared. At the same time, we can create even tab bars here, right? Whatever the tabs we want to create, and how do we create it? Where do we require to establish this tab bars, all that stuff. So these tab bars can also be established wherever it is required and wherever we want it, because depends on the need and all, everything. This also can be created, right? So we can create it tab bar here, right? So whatever the changes to be made into the existing ones can be done, right? So these are the advantages where, so what not, right? Even we can use tab bars, we can create some sitemaps, we can use some scroll bars. For example, if there is a page which we want to scroll it, right? Here you have an option where you can put the scroll bars here, and whatever the scrolling and all, everything can be done. Means in the single page, whatever the information you are going to write, all this information can be scrolled here. So these are the different aspects which normally we use when we are using this wireframes and mockups and all everything in this Balsamiq and all that. So this doesn't require any kind of coding, but most of the people may have some perception over, Raj, do we require to use any kind of coding or something like that, sir? No, absolutely not required. You don't require any kind of tools and all everything. Any kind of coding is required. But there are tools like there are few prominent tools we use like Balsamiq, at the same time Sketch, etc. Adobe, all that, right? There are Adobe tools even nowadays we are using extensively. So these are the prominent tools which we are using. So these are the tools. Exposure is what is required, especially if you want to make a career out of this UI and UX designer, all that stuff. So this is all about the introduction about UI and UX designer role, and as well as the kind of responsibilities, what is that they do and how they are going to do. So if anybody have some perception over that, do we require to write any kind of code? No. The answer is no. We don't require any kind of code, all that. So what majorly required for a person who wants to become user interface designer or user interface experience or user interface designer and all that? One thing is that you need to have that clarity. First, what is that you are going to develop is what the clarity is required. Point number one. Point number two, how to develop that, right? So that sort of visualization is required. So you should not have any kind of confusion over what is that you are going to develop, all that. So that is essentially important when you are working on user interfaces and your user experiences when you are creating. So these are the major two areas apart from the qualification criteria, all that. But qualification criteria of not. At the end of the day, what worth we have acquired and all everything is essentially important to gain the or to have a career in user interface designs or user interface experiences and all everything nowadays across industries, irrespective of the technology, irrespective of the domain, all that. This is all about the introduction part of UI and UX with the help of Balsamiq I have shown you. I hope you guys have understood this. If you have any kind of questions on regarding this, or else at the same time, if you have any training requirements in needs, please reach out to our contact details, which will be posted below to the video, so that we are happy to answer your queries on that stuff. Thank you.